Charlie's stage tonight. We're going to give away a pair of tickets for that show a little bit later. And she's got a release out, Coming Alive. And we're going to give away a copy of that CD as well during this interview. But first, we're going to hear a song. Welcome to Studio A.
Thanks so much, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's get started. Tell us about this first song, and is it off of Coming Alive?
Yeah, so I'm going to do the title track for the new album, Coming Alive. This is a song that I wrote actually in a log cabin up in North Carolina during quarantine, the heart of quarantine. And I was imagining what it would be like to travel again and see the world and see people in that place of pure isolation. So the song was imagined as this beautiful travel song, and now it's really fun being out singing it live because I'm inside of the vision that I was having of traveling and being in the world again and feeling alive. And, you know, inside of the isolation, I felt like I was going to burst out of my skin. And so that's where the title Coming Alive came out. I was like, you're coming out ready to see the world again. So that's what inspired this song.
All right.
Okay, this is Coming Alive from the new album, Coming Alive. I've got a feeling deep inside I'm coming alive. Deep in this body of water there's a tide taking me on a ride. I'm coming alive. Coming alive. I'm on a journey. I've set my sights out to the open road. This is survival out in the wild. My greatest teacher, she lives inside. Coming alive out to the sunsets. Baby, you'll find love. Can't stop dreaming, it's so close that I can touch. Holding my heart here, setting my speed. There is a tide taking over me. Feel the light coming down from the moon. Shine on, I'm ready to move. Got a feeling deep inside I'm coming alive to the ocean of endless dreams. Rise up new possibilities, keeping hope in my eyes. I'm coming alive, coming alive. Won't live in fear. I am a dreamer, following the leader. She lives inside. I'm seeing clearly through all this haze, ready to go to the open road. Out to the sunsets, wild and I'm free. There is a tide taking over me. Feel the light coming down from the moon. Shine on, I'm ready to move. Got a feeling deep inside I'm coming alive to the ocean of endless dreams. Rise up through possibilities, keeping hope in my eyes. I'm coming alive. I'm coming
That's Christie Lenee performing live in Studio A. That's the title track from her latest Coming Alive. And she's going to, I think, tune her guitar to an alternate tuning right now. So I'll take that opportunity right now to give away a pair of tickets for her show tonight at Natalie's, and that will be on Charlie's stage tonight. We'll take caller 4 right now at 614-821-9223. That's area code 614-821-WCBE to see Christie Lenee playing tonight at Natalie's on Charlie's stage. We'll hear another song in just a moment, and after that, I'll have a copy of her Coming Alive release to give away as well. And she's started out playing a lot of just acoustic guitar music with no vocals, but you've come a long way since then. And Tommy Emmanuel's been here in Studio A recently when he came to town, and he had a little bit to do with that, didn't he?
Oh, singing. Oh, wow, you've done your research. Yeah, well, I was making this album Coming Alive, and I actually sat with Tommy and played him some of the tracks, and I was like, I'm having a hard time getting the guitar loud enough in the mix. He's like, no, this is not a guitar album. I mean, it is. Of course it's a guitar album, I'm a guitarist, but he's like, you gotta get the vocals more forward, and so I took his advice and kind of went for it, and it became very featured in the vocals on this, but lots of electric guitar, various guitar layers, so yeah, but I kind of have the instrumental thing and then the vocal thing, so a little bit of both sides. It's fun. And
you won awards when you were just playing your acoustic guitar without the vocals. And it would be tempting for a lot of artists maybe just to continue on that path since you were having success with it, but you were having none of it, were you?
Oh, well, you know what? I still do that. And that's the thing. I'm very involved in the fingerstyle guitar world, and of course I'll do the fingerstyle piece that won all those awards. And so I just really like to do both. I feel like the instrumental side of me is this very sweet and heartwarming part, and then the vocals just kind of add another layer of poetry and some kind of lyrical message. So there's definitely both, and at all my shows I do a mix of instrumental and vocals. So yeah, it's fun to do that, but there's always a lot of guitar, no matter what.
All right.
I'll have a lot of guitars on stage tonight.
Okay, and you play some other instruments as well, piano and quite a few other instruments, right? Yeah,
piano, bass, various different types of string instruments, and vocals, and lots of different guitars, 12 strings, soprano 12 string, baritone 12 string, various electrics, banjo a little bit. So yeah, I'm just like to play most string instruments.
All right, well, let's hear another song. Then we'll talk a little bit more about the Coming Alive release and who you worked with on that, and give away a copy of that. What's the name of the next song you're going to play?
Right. Well, actually, speaking of Tommy Emmanuel, this next track, Cleopatra's Eyes, is a song that I did live with Tommy in the last tour we did together in Poland. And it was fun to do it as a duet. That day, he played a 6-string, and I played a 6-string, and then now today here in the studio, I'll try to play all 12. This is Cleopatra's Eyes.
And if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Christie Lenee playing live in Studio A on her 12-string there on that one with a little assist from the foot tambourine. Her latest release is Coming Alive, and let's give away a copy of that right now. We'll take caller 4 right now at 614-821-9223. That's for the latest Christie Lenee release, Coming Alive. And tell us a little bit about your core band on this release. Those musicians, they've been around the block, played with a few bands we've heard of.
Yes, so I was really grateful to be able to work with some of the best musicians I know on this last album. You know, when a lot of people weren't on tour during the crazy times of COVID and making it, which was, I guess we kind of started making it in April 2021, and I wrote most of the songs in 2020. And Keith Carlock, who's now the drummer for Steely Dan, he's toured with Toto, Sting, John Mayer, a bunch of artists that I love, and modern American drummer calls him, I guess, the best drummer in the world. And I think it was like a Reader's Poll magazine voting, and he really is the best drummer I've ever worked with. And I'm a very percussive guitarist, and so to work with a drummer of that caliber was really fun. And he brought in his buddy Adam Nitti, who plays for Susan Tedeschi, and I'm trying to think of who he's on tour with now. But the two of them have been making records together for 20 years, and you know, to get a rhythm section in a room that has been playing together and made that many records together, there's this cohesiveness that's really magical that kind of happens in a synergy. And so we had the three of us in the studio, and Matthew Audmark from the band Jars of Clay co-produced it, and their keyboardist from Jars of Clay, Charlie Lowell, played keys. And then I had a lot of fun after we did all the basic tracking in my home studio, you know, layering electric guitars and different textural things, and then did the vocals and more vocals and guitars in other studios. So it was a really fun album to make. It was really, everything being shut down and not being on tour gave me the opportunity to make the record of my dreams, you know, because I actually had a lot of time, and it was great. So I'm really proud of it and excited to share it with the world now.
Well, how did you get these people assembled to work on this release? Did you just call them up?
Yeah, so I opened for Christopher Cross at the Birchmere in Alexandria, Virginia a while back, and Keith Carlock was playing drums for him, and so that's how I met Keith. And he heard my set, and we traded info, and we're like, well, you know, one day we'll collaborate. So, you know, I just took the plunge to give him a call. He got Adam Nitti to come, and I met Matthew Audmark from Jars of Clay because I was hired as a guitarist to come into a studio session in early 2021 with a band that I work with from time to time called Who-Dost, and they're a neo-folk American, what do they call it, something, neo-folk rock ensemble or something like that. And so I went in to play electric and do background vocals for their record, and loved the way that Matt worked in the studio. I loved his feedback, and he was just so easygoing, and so I asked him if he wanted to co-produce a record together, and that's kind of how it all came together. And I'm so happy with it. And, you know, we put the cover of me with an electric on the front of it because it was a statement to say, this is not a solo fingerstyle album, you know, because it's not. It's a very, like, acoustic rock singer-songwriter album that is very featured in the guitar and the vocal, but with a great band. So, you know, I'm a huge fan of Dave Matthews Band and Bella Fleck and the Flecktones and bands like that are like really amazing musicians that come together as an ensemble. So I was kind of going for somewhere in between that kind of vibe. There's some pretty intricate arrangements on there that took a long time. And we had Jeff Coffin from Dave Matthews Band play saxophone on a song Another Day Goes By. So, yeah. Some fun project to make. So
right now you're on tour after your show tonight at Natalie's. You've got a few New York shows coming up, and then in September you'll be at the Tommy Emmanuel Guitar Camp. Is this your first time there?
This is my first time at this camp. I've done a lot of camps like it with Andy McKee, other folks like that, but this is my first time at Tommy's camp, so I'm excited. And Tommy and I have done a few different tours together in the U.S. and then in Poland, so it's always great to see him. He's just such an amazing human being, and you know he's a phenomenal guitarist, but he's even better of a human. And so he calls me baby sister, and I call him big brother. So I'm always happy to see him. Yeah.
All right, well, it's Christie Lenee live in Studio A. You can see her perform live at Natalie's tonight. There are a few tickets left, right?
Yeah, I
Not
think
many,
was,
though.
It was almost sold out last night. I think there were just a few left. So, yeah, I definitely grab them before or call, and maybe we'll try to get them to squeeze more people in there. So, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
well, we have time for one more song. What is the name of this one?
So this is a song from Michael Pukash. I wrote this piece about 10 years ago based off of a painting called Tableau Vivant by my dear friend Michael Pukash. And he asked me to write an instrumental piece, and it changed my life forever. And I'll tell this full story at the show tonight, but he asked me to tell the story of love in this piece. And it was a pretty profound assignment. Starting off, he said he wanted to be romantic and playful, move into the feeling of falling in love, and then have a sparkly moment. And the sparkly moment's the moment of conception. And then there's a big boom, and the big boom's the birth of the child. And everything else is a celebration of life. So it was a really big assignment to write this piece. And after I turned in the work for hire, I then spent a long time trying to be able to actually play it well. And this piece won the International Fingerstyle Guitar Championship in 2017 and Acoustic Guitarist of the Year in London in 2019. And it is therefore forever changed my life. So this is a song from Michael Pukash.